Okay, let's try this trig graph question, exam question, and let's just get started. It says the sine of x plus 30 is f, and determine the value of theta. Well, you know that sine normally goes through 0, but now it's going through 30 degrees. So this is shifted 30 degrees to the right. The sine of 90 degrees is normally 1, but hey, that's gone 30 degrees to the right. That's the only change that's happened. So that means a shift to the right means you have to subtract. That's why theta is minus 30 degrees. It must be minus 30. What about a? And the value of a, well, that goes with g here. That goes with g. Well, that's all about the period. You have to know that number in front of there is all about the period. And if you go 360 and you divide by a, you'll get the period. But what is the period of g? Let's see. Going from here all the way down and then coming back to here, that's the period. It's 120 degrees. So, what does that mean? The period's 120. Well, 360 divided by 8 has to equal 120. Well, these can trade places. 360 divided by 3 is 120. That's why A is 3. The next two questions. The first one's easy. Determine the values of x for which f equals g. Where do they touch each other? Well, they touch each other here, 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 and here in 4 places. But they only want the answers between minus 60 and 60. So your answers would be minus 60 and 30. Okay. Now the last question's tricky. I messed it up a bunch of times. But I understand the question because it's saying when you multiply the two functions together, when is it greater than or equal to 0? In other words, when will it equal a positive? So if you stop, say, right here, well, this would be 2 negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1. Hey, it works right at minus 60. It does because they're both negative, and when you multiply them, you get a positive. Hey, it works all the way here. Negative times negative, negative, and then 0 is fine because it has to be greater than or equal to 0. 2 negatives all the way up to minus 30 degrees. And that's the first little region where it works. Hey, but here, if you went bigger, if it's positive times the negative here, that doesn't work. In fact, it doesn't work when they're on opposite sides of the line. It works for 30 degrees here, so we can say x is 30 degrees. Oh, be careful, don't go past 120 because that's as far as we're supposed to go. It's not working here between 30 and 60. Look, positive times a negative. Positive times a negative. Oh, what about at 90 degrees it works? What about at 100 degrees, say right there? Oh, 2 positives would multiply, then it works all the way up to 120. So it works between 90 degrees and 120, and it works between minus 30 and minus 60. That was pretty tricky. I kept on getting it wrong looking at it. So if you found it tricky, oh, I found it tricky. But I think this is the right answer now. I had to do the video twice. How